estimate what the story is going to do for you or what it's about, and then it surprises you. And you're like, oh, it's actually really funny, first of all.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Juniper.
Hello, this is Elle.
Welcome to our pod. Today we're going to do a early impression of the latest Liu Xueyi drama. I think we were just joking about that at the end of our last pod that we're currently checking out. And it is yet another costume drama, a xianxia, 40 episodes, called Love Never Fails. Chinese name, oh my god, this is long. 落花时节又逢君, which literally means I will meet you again when the petals fall, which to me seems kind of sad, right? Like oh, when everything is about to die, I will meet you again. But anyways, it's about flowers basically, because you'll see the story is really about flower demons and flower gods, and everything is a freaking flower. So if you have allergies, you do not want to be in this realm. Is all I can conclude. But so far, I would say that we checked it out on a whim. Actually, let's talk about why we checked it out and then go from there. So I checked it out first out of curiosity, but also why not? We're on the bender I was on a bender for Ruipeng shows, and he's actually the second male lead in this. And it was actually so there's history to this show, right? It was actually filmed 4 years ago, and it never got released. So it's actually an older show, and it comes across when you look at the visuals, the aesthetics a little bit, and the story type or style. It's an older xianxia. And then the original female lead, actress Ruipeng got into tax evasion trouble with the government. So she was canceled, basically. And this show could never be shown. But then they reshot with a second replacement actress named, who I never actually had heard of until this show, called Hu Yixuan. And they did reshots, I think, for 2-3 months, and then got both the male and second male lead back to do reshoots with her in certain ways for a couple of weeks. So somehow they made it work and were able to release this 40-episode show, kind of airdropped it on Mango. Was it a week ago? I want to say a week from when we are recording right now. So not a week from whenever you're going to listen to this pod. So that's why I checked it out, because I was on a bender for Ruipeng, and also because Liu Xueyi, we had been watching so many Liu Xueyi dramas.
Yeah, all of a sudden, right?
Right, and we liked some of them, right? Like the last one, A Moment But Forever. So.
Yeah.
And I strong-armed you, I think, but I'm sure you have your own motivations.
Yeah, no. The two main leads. It's interesting watching it now because Ruipeng has since, become a male lead in his own right. To see him back then again. And then I believe this is the second production he's done with Liu Xueyi. So they have a very good chemistry because they play brothers in this. And it's nice to watch two male leads that we both enjoy actually play well with each other too, because sometimes male leads in these dramas don't even meet, like they're in two separate storylines.
Yeah.
But here they're together in a lot of scenes, and so I think that helps. Like that also made it very fun to watch so far
with each other, which is the typical setup, right? Like they're vying for the same girl. And I'm glad you brought it up, because it triggered a thought in me, which is, first of all, this was actually their first pairing from a actual time sequence.
Before Blood of Youth.
Then they did Blood of Youth. But I would say that their chemistry is very evident. I like seeing the brothers. They're very playful, very funny together. You believe them as brothers, right?
Yes.
But I agree with you. Before the show, I think I could not find any... none of the descriptions I had seen about the show was true. Maybe because it was based on other things, right? Like people making things up, or based on the source novel. But it gave you different impressions. And I think it's also because people were taking descriptions of lifetimes in the story. They go through several lifetimes, which is typical in the xianxia, right? Like different versions of life. So they might have taken snippets of another version of their non-original life, right? Subsequent cycles on Earth or other realms, and made it like the gospel, versus the truth is their brothers, heavenly kind of potential heirs to the heavenly throne, both of them. So very powerful gods. And the overall story is about Liu Xueyi's character, who's the more powerful one, the one supposedly being groomed to become the future emperor, right, of the heavens. And his love story with, I guess, this little flower, camellia. He is a peony, right? Is he a peony? What kind of flower is he? Mudan?
Yeah. Maodan is
Okay.
peony.
He's a peony, and she is a camellia, a red camellia, and he loves her because actually they never really explain why he loves her so much.
Well, they said she was like his friend in plant form when he was a kid.
Oh yeah,
And
he cultivated her.
yeah. And then I don't remember why. I think the Camellia clan did something, and so the emperor his father forced him to get rid of the plant, right?
She wouldn't bloom on command. She
Oh.
bloomed only for
Oh.
him.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Oh, I thought it
It
was
was
the
a
Camellia.
very
Okay.
cruel reason, the
It
emperor.
doesn't make any sense.
Parents. This show is,
Yeah,
again,
so
bad parents.
yeah, so he made him get rid of the plant, and then before the plant was eviscerated, he planted one of his fingers, like the bone or something, into her soul. So she survives the whatever torture or extermination process, and she lands on the mortal realm and grows into a pixie. So she's human form finally, but on the mortal realm, not in the heavens.
Yeah.
That's the general gist
You
of
know,
it.
it's funny that so how far are you into the show? I'm on episode 16 out of
I'm on
40.
episode. I just finished 10, and there's still like so spoilers, right? So she just made it as a junior immortal. So the first 10 episodes, you're really watching her trying to become an immortal because her goal is to. Okay, so just to backtrack, so she has memories of him when she was still in that flower form, but she thought it was like a woman, like a goddess, and she's like, I
Yeah,
just want to
none of
repay
that.
the
Yeah,
goddess, yeah,
right.
for saving my life. So that was why she was so, hell bent on getting into the immortal realm, just to like say thank you or show gratitude. And she meets him, but she didn't know he was they call him the floral deity, like the like sort of the head of everything. And she didn't realize that he was that uh not person, but that immortal who helped save her. So by the time she realizes, they had already formed a relationship in terms of this, where she just really thinks of him as her friend, and he's always known who she was, and he becomes fond of her despite his sort of rigidness. Um so he tells her, like, the only way I can marry you is if you're an immortal. So she's like, okay, then I'm gonna try to become cultivate to become an immortal. And that's all she's focused on doing. And this is before she even understands what, marriage means, what love means. Like, a lot of it is
But
like
you know
she has to be.
who proposed marriage, not him.
Yeah,
It
she
just came out of
proposed.
nowhere, which
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
that's not explained, by the way. So it's funny how we don't really remember the exact plot points of the show, and yet we are enjoying it, I think. Because I would say I will definitely keep watching this show, and I look forward to the new episodes. And they're releasing it pretty slowly, which is kind of frustrating, but also good because then I can pace myself. Because I find it's very fast paced. The
The
storytelling.
stories, yes.
Right. Even though it's technically an old-fashioned xianxia with old-fashioned everything, it's actually very fast-paced. Doesn't feel draggy at all, at least not so far, and I'm almost halfway through. And yet we don't really remember the specifics, which says something about the show, right? Like, you're not watching it for like necessarily plot dramatics. I think what hooks me, we already talked about the brother dynamics. The actors are people we like, right? And
Yeah.
the female lead is really, I like her a lot. She's um so the show, I think I mentioned to you before, it reminds me of a combination of Ashes of Love and The Starry Love. Both shows we like a lot. I say Ashes of Love because of the themes, right? The
Mm-hmm.
heaven, forbidden love themes and betrayal and blah blah blah. I gotta kill you 5 times type of thing. You know it's coming. And such, right? Love and hate all intertwined over many lifetimes and that kind of old-fashioned aesthetic, right? Heavy-handed aesthetic. But it's better than Ashes of Love because, in fact, when I was watching, I think I texted you and said, I wish that Ashes of Love was like this because it would have been such a better show. Not so draggy, way funnier, more natural acting. Because that's what I love about the actors and the actress. The female lead is her character, right, is really, could be a very thankless character. And I know there are people who are either diehard fans of the original actress who are just anti everything now, right? Because she's canceled and they don't want to see a version without her, or who are just picky, who say, "Oh, we don't like this actress because it's so stupid and fake." Like, there's nothing fake about her acting at all, right? The character she plays is very naive and innocent. And yet happy-go-lucky, and you have to believe that it's not some random adult actress pretending to look childish and sweet. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I would say a lot of actresses can't do that justice, but I think Hu Yixuan does a very good job of that, in my opinion.
So same as you, I had never heard of her, had never seen her in anything else, and I would say yes, like she does come off very natural in the way she's portraying this innocence, almost sprightly little pixie, right? She's innocent. She's as innocent as the surroundings that she grew up in. She's not innocent as in like she's not smart, right? She's just like this is all I ever knew. So now she's suddenly in a different place that has very high expectations of her. So she's kind of trying to figure it out and navigate that. And I think going back to what you said about the original actress, so I've seen comments where people are like, I rewatched the trailer because the original trailer showed scenes with the original actress and they're still floating around. If you search hard, you'll find them.
Seen it, yeah.
And it's a different vibe, at least based on what I could tell. Like the other actress, I'm not familiar with the other actress either. I guess she's very well liked from a different drama, but like the feel is very different. Like the feel is more actually what you would consider the traditional male
Actress of love.
female. Huh?
Actress of love.
Yeah,
Sorry.
like that kind of melodrama, like that
Yes,
feel, right? Like
yes.
the acting, they probably looks wise, they're more not I think the current actress is pretty too, but in a different way. I think the original actress has more of that look that is more standard beauty in China. I'm not saying
Really?
no, I'm saying that's how the people in China think is standard and they
Don't tell
match better.
people what all of China thinks.
No, okay. So that's my perception based on comments I've read, where people are like, "Oh, I feel like the original actress was blah blah blah," right? Like, and these are obviously fans of her, so
That's our fans. You also see comments
yes.
of, "Oh, come on, let's admit it. She has a giant nose and she's very plain." And I'm like, "Yes, I agree."
So I don't remember exactly what she looks like. So I think so when you told me that they recast the actress, there was some rumor, right, that they were going to do AI face swap, like just swaps
It wasn't.
someone else's
Thank
face.
God it wasn't.
And thank goodness. Like when you told me that, I was like, oh my god. And then I watched it. I was like, oh, they didn't do that. Like the actress is actually acting in every scene that she's on camera, and I actually cannot tell when certain scenes were filmed 4 years ago versus now. Like
Me neither.
right? Like there's some scenes where they do close-ups of the male leads, and I'm like, oh, this must have been 4 years ago. And then they pan and she's like right next to them. So I cannot tell.
You can tell with the men. Like you're basically like the joke is like, oh, people are like, oh, new fans of Arepan, like, oh, you get to see 24-year-old Arepan and 29-year-old Arepan or something like that, right? Because he did do some reshoots too. The same can be said of like Liu Xueyi. I think you can tell the most with Arepan because he definitely has grown into his like he's got more defined
Chiseled.
facial features. Not chiseled, just like when you turn from like young 20s to almost 30, you do go through kind of a definition phase of your face, right? Like you look more mature for sure.
Yeah.
And there's something about what's in your eyes, right? The twinkle is different. So I can definitely see that more with him. But even I Like I stopped trying to figure out which one is which because I A got engrossed in the story and B it's not distracting at all. Like so to me they did a really good job. Whatever the tricks
Yes.
they did to make it work, like intermixing the old footage with the new. And kudos to the actress who's acting half the time against the green screen or God knows what, right? Or
Yeah.
stand-ins. Like
Yeah.
to do justice to the role like she has, I'm like, man.
Well, and I don't know if you rewatched the trailer with the original actress after you start watching this, because I did
Mm.
because I read those comments. I was like, oh, let me go back and look because I didn't pay attention to the original trailer. I was like, there are some scenes that are scene for scene, the exact same scene. Like when she kissed him, like the
Mm-hmm.
shot is the same angle and everything. So like he had to actually film certain scenes the same way, but with a different actress, right? And I was like, oh, that's really interesting that the director didn't even like like these are literal reshoots. Like it's not like, oh, let's how to make this interesting. It's like, no, this is the storyboard. We're sticking to it. And they did a good job. I also wonder the set that they're in, like which I texted you. I was like, why does the set look so plastic? Like it's supposed to be the floral realm, and it's so plastic half the time with like the white. I think it's supposed to be like white petals or whatever. But yeah, anyways, it looks synthetic.
Yeah, the heaven set is ridiculous.
Yeah,
It gives a moment but forever it makes a moment but forever's first arc look not so cheap.
yeah, yeah, a
Although
little bit, right?
I can't say it looks cheap. It just looks really dated, right? Like someone spent a lot of money, but in 1990, right, to
Yeah,
get this like
yes,
the
yes. Oh my God, I was thinking this looks like a 1990s living room. You know, like where everything's like pastel but monochromatic
yes,
pastel with
yes,
like the
with sharp
random
corners.
architectural features. Yes,
Yes.
I was thinking the exact same thing. I was like, what is this? Someone like was stuck in the 1990s. But so yeah, I was impressed that the set still existed for these reshoots because
Oh, same thought. Did they have to reconstruct it? They wouldn't, right?
I don't know. Cuz that's a big set,
Yes. They
right?
don't usually keep sets like this. It's not one of the typical Hendian sets, right? Because these
No.
indoor sets they usually construct. So they either had to redo it or they somehow had it somewhere in storage and just said, oh, let's cobble this together, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, because that set is really actually really big if I mean every room was very spacious and
Hmm.
cavernous looking. So I was like, how did they reshoot with the set? So anyways, that's
That might be green screen. A lot of the cavernousness is created with green screen. I'm always surprised when you see BTS of these shows. You're like, oh, they really are just acting in like a film barn, you know, studio barn
mm,
with like green everywhere, right? And it's all
mm,
added. It looks really dark, right? But then in
yeah.
the actual scene, it's really bright and everything. So you're like, oh, so the camera is very different. Lit, like
Mm,
when they light it for a scene for actual film versus what you see with the plain phone camera or whatever, right? For BTS.
yeah.
What was I saying? Oh, we digress off of Ashes of Love all the way onto every other thing we were going to talk about. But I wanted to go back to why I also thought this reminds me of the Starry Love,
Mhm.
because when we watched the Starry Love, we loved it. But it also gave you the impression it was a really poor budget, bad aesthetic, old school xianxia at first with the pastels and the stodgy male lead and the crazy female lead at first, right? You're like, what is this?
Mhm.
But it grew on us and it was hilarious and romantic at the same time, right? And very fun story with heart. And I feel like that's why I'm comparing this to the Starry Love too. Like you underestimate what the story is gonna do for you or what it's about, and then it surprises you. And you're like, oh, it's actually really funny, first of all. It's a
Yeah.
really funny show.
I was laughing every other scene. Like some
Yeah.
of the jokes are very subtle, but
Yes.
like I have to say Liu Xueyi, he can do comedy really well. Like he's very
They
understated
all
about it.
can.
They all
They all
can,
can.
but you don't expect him to participate in that. But he because of the character that he's playing, right? Who's more
Mm-hmm.
he reminds me of a school principal, like you know, like he is like very rigid with his rules because you know it's
Yes.
been kind of beaten into him by his dad. But you know, everyone's like, you need to follow the rules, and you know, you're gonna get punished, and I'm punishing you. You're gonna get 1,000 thunderbolts to your, you know, and all of that. And so, but yeah, the comedy is done really funnily, and And I think that's what is keeping me watching.
Even the first 10, 11 episodes where you are up to, there's so many things I can recall, like when he's at first so annoyed with her, right, for always getting into trouble, and she's always like bathing, and he's like, what is your obsession with bathing? Like,
I know. I'm glad he asked, and she actually had an answer.
and then he didn't like the answer, right? Because it was like he's so conflicted. He's like, I forbid you to do this, right? Like, why do you bathe so much? Like, it's so like almost indecent, right? And she's like, oh, I used to go bathing with all my pixie friends. He's like, all of your pixie friends, like basically people who have seen her naked or something, right? And he's like, oh, you should not be doing that. It ain't proper, basically. And then I love how he even got jealous of her and Quinlan. And by the way, when you get to where I am, there's just gonna be more of that in the second arc because. And then, but when he got jealous of her and Quinlan, even though they were really not up to anything, like he had her like as a flower in his robes. That was so hilarious, so random. The scene, it was so random, and she was like flipping around inside him.
Yeah. No, that happened earlier. Where I think I don't know if she was like in his armpit, and then
yes,
remember that?
Yes, and then he's like, ow, and then he was like angry with everyone because she was, I think, poking him. Did you get? Yes, in his armpit. What about? Wait, was it? Did you get to the part? I think you must have, where he's like reading the scrolls because he's like, "What's wrong with me lately?"
Oh yes, yes, like all the symptoms of love sickness, and he's like, at the end, he's like, "Oh great, I don't have any of these symptoms."
Yeah, he's like, "I have none of these. Thank God." I was like, "Oh, you idiot!"
But evidently, they show that he did have them. So
right. So that was hilarious. So, anyways, I could go on, but I think it actually gets funnier where I am. Like, it's like a shenanigans. Let's just say the second arc is all shenanigans, and you're like, what kind of? So they're at a school, basically, that's run by him again. So you know how you said school principal? Well, he literally becomes a school principal. He's at the school. Like, he's not literally the school principal, but he's like the sifu of this place, right?
Yeah.
And so basically, they're all running amok, a bunch of idiots running amok at the schoolyard.
It's funny. I didn't know that.
Yeah, you have that to look forward to. Yeah, no, they're a
Oh.
bunch of idiots running amok. So, anyways, I think, I feel like we said enough, right? For an early impression, obviously, if you can't tell by now, we so far are very much enjoying this show, even though I don't think many people are watching it, especially in China, because it's limited by the fact that it's an old show. There's not anyone super famous in it, right? Like from a super idol. The actors are well known enough, but especially the female lead. And then I think there's a lot of anti-fans going out, right? Because they're like boycotting.
Oh, that's a shame.
I think the worst is that it's on Mango. Mango is not known for drama. Mango is known for its variety shows like Hello Saturday. And nobody wants to pay a subscription to watch a Mango show. But I think they're missing out because this is a really good show so far. And unless it does like a 180 about face, which again, you can't put it past Chinese shows, right? From doing that.
Yeah.
I'm definitely looking forward to watching this to the end and enjoying the ride. Liu Xueyi is also someone who spews a lot of blood, which is old-fashioned xianxia for you.
I noticed that too.
He's allergic to her. Like, literally. I think he's literally allergic to her in the show. They haven't explained why, but have you noticed he only spews blood when he's around her?
There was one scene when he was sitting at his desk and he spewed blood, and I was like, oh, that's kind of random. But I thought it was because his dad was making him train really hard. They called it oceanic arts or something. So I thought that was from that. I didn't think it was from her.
All I could think was, wow, he spews a lot of blood, but who's cleaning it up? It's like me and cat vomit, Like, oh no, the cat's thrown up again. Hey, who's gonna clean that up? Is it your turn or is it my turn?
I always wonder how they clean the costumes. Like, how many versions? Because he's wearing white. It's not like he's wearing a dark color.
Yes. I do wonder how
so
many...
actually...
Yeah?
Hmm?
Go ahead.
No, Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, you know how you compared it to those other two dramas? Another one I thought of that where very high level with just the main leads is sort of like the 10 Miles of Peach Blossom or Eternal Love. Like,
Really?
I know you weren't a fan of that.
Well, no, I never watched it.
Yeah, like because he reminds me a little bit of Yehua, the male lead in Eternal Love, like
Mm-hmm.
where he is sort of in charge, right? You would think he had a lot of power, but he's also suppressed by his parents, or like his destiny is not in his control. And it's very similar where he can't be with the one he loves, right? Because that was why he betrayed Bai Qian. Bai Qian, the Yang Mi character. So like when I watched this, I was like, oh, it had hints of that where he's in a high, status, but he can't be with the one he loves, and then, you know, the girl gets betrayed and then she drops into the mortal realm. So I mean, obviously this is a lot funnier, like, and this has a different source material, right? This is also from a book. So
I'm
I'm
sure the
actually
stories.
interested in.
Go ahead,
I want to
sorry.
read it just to see how it compares to how they adapted it. But yeah, a little bit of that reminded me a little bit of that.
Sorry, I didn't really mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to get it off of my head when I remembered it. I was gonna say that it definitely is probably because it was all the rage at the time, right? That all of these
Mm-hmm.
stories were like that. So
Yeah.
I'm sure you can like find a dime a dozen, basically, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's why shows like The Starry Love were mistakenly construed as old school xianxia when it first came out because it looked like that and it almost sounded like the same theme, right? 少年有情, if you think about it, in that Starry
Mm-hmm.
Love was also forbidden, right, from coming off of his like pedestal. His
Yeah.
dad was so strict about that. Strict, awful parents, right? Awful dads, at least.
Yeah.
Although in this one, both parents are equally bad. You're just like, what is wrong with these
Yeah.
parents?
Yeah. Both parents are awful. Like they have no parental love in them. Like I don't even know why they have children. Like they should not have children.
It's amazing that two sons turned out so well.
I actually think, the construct of the story, it's a good thing they had each other because how awful would the childhood have been versus I think here they have each other to, even complain about the parents or to vent or to just mock the parents a little bit. Like they have each other for that. And I think that's where you're like, oh yeah, there's brotherly love.
I mean, I think we are going to finish this hopefully. Even though I'm going on vacation, I'm hoping I'd be able to see this from Amsterdam and finish it. By the time this pod comes out, I bet because it takes us a few days, right, after we record it to come out. I think the actual airing schedule will be up to like almost episode 30 for SVIPs.
Mm,
So by the time I return, we should be able to do a wrap up.
I hope so.
I look forward to the ending.
Yeah, I'm watching on YouTube, and thank goodness. It looks like every episode will be out. So that's
Yes,
good for me.
no challenges there. Although challenges with the subtitle because it's mango.
Yeah. I was telling you, I was like, what's NCR? Like they kept like hyphenating this thing, and it's like, oh, North Celestial Realm. It's like it sounds like it's so bureaucratic sounding. The NCR.
Yeah, so looking forward to this one. And I'm really hoping it commits to what it's been on for 100% of the rest of the journey, and then I might even become a Liu Xueyi fan because I really enjoy him in this. I mean, I love Ruipeng's character, but he's just the second male lead, so he doesn't get as much screen time. But I love their dynamic together, as you already pointed out. Just everyone's so cute in this show.
Yeah.
So lovable? Is that the word? Lovable, I think is
Yes.
what I'm looking
Yeah.
for.
I'm glad they did the reshoots because otherwise we
We would
wouldn't get to
never.
watch it.
Exactly. Thank God
Or there would
someone
be
just
an
did it.
awful AI face on it, like a scary mask.
Yes. So I hope the show does get find an audience because whoever invested in the reshoots deserves to recoup the investment. The actors deserve to get some reward for their hard work.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I guess I'll talk to you when this is done and we can gab about how it ended and what that meant
Yeah.
for us.
And have a good time in Amsterdam. Don't obsess over this drama.
I'll try not to. I'll try. All right. Talk to you later then.
Bye.